Group ISIS and their ideology was the focus of a hearing held by the Senate Homeland Security Committee. We heard from a Yazidi woman who was captured and enslaved by ISIS and then escaped. Members also discussed how the group's ideology relates to and motivates so-called lone wolf actors, like the mass shooter in Orlando, Florida. From Capitol Hill, this is about 2 hours.
Good morning. This hearing will come to order. We do have one witness who parked over Union Station. He's making his way over here, so I thought we'd get going and he can join us when he gets here. I want to thank the witnesses for appearing, for your time, for your testimony. The mission statement of this committee, you've heard it repeatedly, but I'll repeat it again, is to enhance the economic and national security of America. On the Homeland Security side, one of our top 4 priorities is certainly doing whatever we can to keep our homeland safe, to counter Islamic terror. The goal of every hearing, from my standpoint, coming from a manufacturing background, I've solved a lot of problems. The first step in solving a problem is admitting you have one, properly defining it, identifying it, defining it, but really facing reality. And so the goal of every hearing is to lay out a reality, so that certainly the members of the committee, the people in the audience, understand what we're dealing with a particular problem. Today's hearing is our 8th hearing dealing with some form of component of the threat we face from Islamic terror. It's a harsh reality. It's one I wish was not true. It was one I wish we didn't have to face, but we have to. We're going to be hearing testimony today that will be hard to hear. It'll be hard to hear. But it's testimony that I think is incredibly important for us to hear. So again, I thank the witnesses for appearing. I would ask that my written statement be entered in the record without objection. It's important for us to understand that Islamic terrorists declared war on the United States. Quite honestly, Islamic terrorists declared war on the civilized world. We didn't declare war on them, they declared war on us. I can't exactly point to the date, but certainly one that's pretty visible was the first attempt to bring down the Twin Trade Towers. That was on February 26, 1993. And the fact that we didn't face the full reality right there and then, I think eventually led to the fact that we then faced the tragedy of 9/11, where almost 3,000 Americans were slaughtered in that terrorist attack. Now, there are 2 ways to end a war, only 2 ways. Either one side defeats the other, or both sides decide to lay down their arms. The tragic events of yet another ISIS-inspired terror attack on this country in Orlando has proven Islamic terrorists are not laying down their arms. So the only way we're going to end this war, the only way we're going to keep our homeland safe, return peace to the civilized world, is if we defeat Islamic terrorists, if we defeat ISIS. Now, on September 10, 2014, President Obama laid out America's goal as relates to ISIS. It was pretty simply stated: to degrade and ultimately defeat them. That was 22 months ago. 22 months ago. In testimony last week before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, CIA Director John Brennan laid out the reality as it relates to our success or lack thereof in our war on ISIS. And he testified, and this is a quote, that ISIS remains a formidable, resilient, and largely cohesive enemy, and that our efforts have not reduced their terrorism capability and their global reach. Now, that is a depressing reality after 22 months, but it's a reality we have to face. So